Round 19 then of Super League it was this week. Had average attendance for people who follow this sort of stuff, 6,708, which actually is the second worst of the season so far. As we run through, we'll talk about some of the teams that were at home. That'll give an element of explanation to that. But hopefully all these teams can start getting some more people through the doors very soon. We start with the Thursday night game, the big, huge relegation battle down in Ealing between the London Broncos and Hull Kingston Rovers. Do you want to run us through this one, Sarah?
Yeah, so I think they may have mentioned once or twice that it was a relegation battle. It finished London 26, Hull KR 24, and at half-time it was 8-6 to London. There were 1,503 people there, and it was refereed by Chris Kendall. In terms of the stats, most of the stats were very tight, with Rovers coming out on top in plenty of them, including more breaks and offloads. London won on penalties, conceding 2 fewer, and errors, making less than half as many in a 6-13 count, and also had a 1% better team tackle success rate. Individually, for London, Luke Yates made 54 tackles, Rhys Williams with 7 tackle busts, 167 metres and 2 clean breaks. Elliot Keir with 120 metres and Jordan Abdul with 1 try and 101 metres. For the losing Rovers, Ben Crooks made 129 metres. Ryan Shaw with 5 tackle busts, 128 metres, 2 clean breaks. Rob Mulhern with 107 metres and Kane Lynette with 169 metres and 2 clean breaks.
I missed off from there, actually. Luke Yates had no missed tackles as well, so even more impressive.
Yeah, that is really impressive, isn't it?
I've been really impressed with him this year. He's worked really hard. He definitely belongs at this level. So London did well to find him out of the backwaters in Australia and give him a go, I think. Yeah,
he looks decent, doesn't he?
Salford apparently is where he'll be next year. Paul O'Brien, 1976, said, "A great game which could have gone either way. A good first half from London before a comeback after half-time from KR. A great finish sealed a well-deserved win for London."
Yep, Shoddy and Munger said, "Great game, tense with moments of quality and controversy, but I'm conflicted. It's more than likely this would have been a snooze fest should relegation not have been in the mix, but ultimately think relegation is a negative for the game overall. The only exception is if Leeds go down, as it'll be hilarious."
Dr. Hideous said, "For most of the game I thought we've got this. We were tackling harder, chasing more enthusiastically and only rarely making errors for all except the first few minutes of both halves. Ref had a great game, so good that hardly any fans in my section, fans of either side, shouted abuse at him. Rovers weren't helped by Mossy Masso, just phoning it in."
Yeah. Joshua's granddad said, "Great performance by Kababdul, controlling the game. London definitely a team in every sense. Should have gone in 10-0 at half-time. Wobbled early in the second half, but came back strong."
Always in our shadow. I think we've got some more nicknames coming along here. Always in our shadow said, "The Dobbins back where they belong. Try before half-time should have been London penalty or at least look at offside from kick. Kendall's only cock-up in the first half. Looked like it was going to hurt London until Abdul-inspired comeback. Dunkwater showed their mentality showed his mentality in the interview at the end, wanting a dragon victory against FC. Be better to think about the teams around them. Still another week's time for Tony Smith to get some more low knees in."
Yep. John Hamilton said, "Torn between wanting London to win as Rugby League should have a top-tier team in the capital, as well as rooting for the underdog, and then looking at the table and hoping they get thumped every week."
Tom Andrews said, "Well, that went well. Out-kicked, out-tackled, out-ran, and still only lost by 2. Thank goodness they were handing out free beers, that's all I'm saying about that. Was in the tent stand second half, couldn't see the screen. Wasn't until I saw the highlights that I saw the piss take of the Abdul try. How dare Abdul be so professional? He should have bombed the kick, then hobbled off. Nice to meet Dave Cantrell."
AK Steel 69 said, "London the better team, and a real shame if they stay up, but the squad is dispersed." Oh, sorry, let me start that one again. "London the better team, and a real shame if they stay up, but the squad is dispersed throughout the rest of the Super League. Danny Ward, the coach of the year for me up to now. Oh, and since 1985, you haven't won a trophy since 1985.
Paige said, I text Tom at full time. He told me that his phone was going to go dead. I thought, how convenient, but didn't want to wind him up too much. London totally deserved to win that match. They ran harder, tackled harder, and were overall the better team. Going to be an interesting end to the season.
Paul Chamberlain said, well, that ended up closer than 2 coats of paint. Other than the standard 10 minutes of complete ineptitude, Broncos generally looked in control and deserved the win. The last few weeks have certainly seen an uptick in defence and some added biff up front. Hopefully Hull KR can go down so we can keep Abdul and they can fuck themselves for tapping players mid-season.
Josh said, I wrote a review and deleted it because there was too much to say. It felt like I was watching the game I fell in love with as a kid. Big hits, two sides who were trying to the end, back and forth, high kicks, off the cuff, great to watch. When I saw when London played Leeds, they were a team with spirit and pace, a true band of brothers.
Tim G Radio said, I couldn't make it, but what a fantastic performance by London. Rob Butler showed that the team who wanted it more got it. Craig Hall, the only Rover to emerge with credit.
Yeah, so Jordan Abdul was man of the match on Sky. He got 3 points in the Albert Goldthorpe and in the Man of Steel. So I suppose we start with Jordan Abdul and your views on him, Sarah.
He was great, wasn't he, really?
That 40-20 I thought was a huge moment in the game.
Yeah, everything went through him. He just controls so well, doesn't he?
Obviously, he isn't the most halfback of halfbacks. Now, I've said this sort of thing before, but I actually think he's shown a great level of maturity, and it's really helping young Morgan Smith, his halfback partner, express himself as well, which we saw in this game with the assist for that Walker try. So I think
he's lost weight. I don't think that there can be so many kebab shops in London.
Maybe it's just the price of them.
Maybe you can only afford one, whereas in Hull you'd get 2 for that price. That is probably right, yeah.
And it'd probably be battered in Hull as well or something.
Yeah.
Was there anyone else who impressed you?
Anybody else that impressed me? I mean, Kieran Dixon, I don't really know how he can still, he used to be able to run and that was it, and he actually seems to be becoming like a fairly decent rugby player. Yes,
he can catch. He can catch and take tough catches.
Yeah.
We've seen this all year, haven't we, really?
Yeah.
Anyone from Rovers impress in this one? Do you think that they got what they deserved, or?
Well, it's a strange one. This is something we were talking about when we were watching the match, actually. Like, Tony Smith's just brought in all these ex-Leeds and ex-Warrington players. And that's, like we were saying, if Rob Louis goes to Leeds, will he be able to do it? Tony Smith's just brought all of these players in. What's that going to do for team morale on the cusp of, 2 massive matches for them?
Yeah, I mean, some of it, I think, was necessity in the Louis. Well, they're thin in the forwards through injuries and retirements and stuff, so some of it was through necessity. But you're right, they come in, they go straight into the side.
Yeah.
And how must that be making others feel? I would say
start with Kindhorse on the bench rather than starting.
Well, the bench was a bit of a weird makeup. Kindhorse and Levett and Murray and Tommy Lee. I mean, Murray is a middle forward, but he's not the biggest of middle forwards.
No.
It was a small bench, and I don't know if that told in the end, because London's bench had Ioane, Mason and Butler, and Mason and Butler are 2 big blokes. That Rob Butler, that try, like Tim said, he wasn't going to give up, was he?
Yeah.
Whereas some of the tacklers thought they had him under control much more than they did. Adam Quinlan's try, though, just after half time, I thought that was every bit as good as anything that London put on in the game as well. I thought that was an absolutely fantastic try from Rovers. And to be honest, when Chris Atkin went over not long after with another really incisive piece of play, I sort of thought that was it, game over. But I think it wasn't too long after that there was the 40-20 from Abdul.
Yeah. I must admit, when they scored those 2 close back-to-back tries, I was wondering what the whether that was Rovers put the foot on the gas and as you say, it was game over. But London hadn't read that script.
Fitness is a thing that London have seemed to got together as well. We talked before in the stats: 55 tackles, no missed tackles from Luke Yates. But fitness in this side, they seem to be able to do second efforts, and they were really intense in the first half. I sort of expected them to tail off. I don't know if you thought the same and are impressed by that aspect of London. Now we're getting to see them a bit on TV because the relegation scrap's exciting.
Yeah, I think so. And what was the other one? As you said, they just kept going, didn't they? What was your take on the whole thing just before half-time when Haraki scored?
Well, I think there's several tries that were controversial, and I do think the narrative has been driven in this by your fellow Hull FC fans. So let's start before we get to that try and say Morgan Smith was offside for me. Kieran Dixon, great kick through. Morgan Smith did everything he could to hold his run. I'm convinced he was offside. If that had gone up as a no try from the on-field officials, it would not have got looked at as many times, and it would have come back as a no try, in my opinion.
Certainly, that first angle they showed from behind looked so far offside. I didn't really know why they looked at a second.
Because it had gone up as a try. It's what we talked about. What we talked about last week when Alan came up with the solution that the rest of us should feel thick for not coming up, which is make an in-goal judge a second referee and bets her off. But that live try call again coming as an issue. But having said that, I was very shocked that the Abdul try was allowed to stand when it went up as a no try.
The one with the push in the back and the
simultaneous grounding as well. Yeah. Now, what would have helped me in that situation as a watcher, and I don't know what you think about this, is if the referee had said why he wasn't giving it. Like, was he not giving it because of the push? Because I sort of think contact was made when Walker just about got... Not Walker, who was it? Walker was the one tackling, I think. Contact was made with the Quinlan, it must have been, or someone.
Yeah, I think Quinlan.
Contact was made with the Hull KR player just about when they were gathering the ball. So I would say fair call on that. But how... I don't know that it was clear and obvious that it was simultaneous. Like from the footage we saw, because all the hands were a bit blurred, which you get sometimes with these camera angles. Yeah. And so I can't say for sure that it was clear and obvious.
Clear enough to overturn it.
That Abdul was simultaneous to overturn it. But if the referee was giving it for the push and saying the grounding he was happy with, then I'd say okay. But that's again why this live call thing doesn't work in this situation where you've only got one official so close to the action making the call. But the other one to talk about is that one just before half-time, isn't it? The Weller Haraki try, which arguably evens out the Morgan Smith try because that looked a bit offside too. Is that what we're saying?
Well, there was was there not a push, an obstruction when Quinlan took the kick?
Right up at the other end of the field,
before they went the length, and then the offside as well.
Yeah, there was someone did step a little bit across, and I think we've seen those given, haven't we? Although you're a long way up the field there where that's happened. I think it could have been a penalty, arguably should have been a penalty, but at the same time, you're a long way away from what happened at the end of that play, to me. But yeah, the onside offside on that one evens out the Morgan Smith one. Well, what's your view? Do you think we have to be stamping down on those things?
Well, I thought that there was enough in it that it should have been reviewed. Yes, it's gone the length of the field, but then it's still the same play, isn't it? We're not going back into different plays.
Yeah, fair shot. I think it came from a kick, didn't it? So someone must have got tackled. Do you know what impressed me with London, actually? And that was one of the instances. There was another instance in the game as well, I think. They tracked them down a couple of times when they made long breaks. And there was one time in the second half when